guide. Welcome. If you've been, following me for a while, it's nice to see you again. And if you are new, fantastic. I'm always excited to help new people discover the things that I have discovered over the years. We'll wait for some more people to come on, but at the beginning of this video, I wanted to find out for the people out there trying to improve their English, I'd like to know why. So why are you trying to improve your English? And just let me know in the comments. Well, English today, Ohio. Ohio ne. That's like the spelling, like the state in the United States, Ohio. So anyway, just let me know in the comments down below. So why are you learning English? And I'd like you to be specific, because the more specific you are, the better I can help you. The sound is good. All right, fantastic. Nice to see you there, Arturo. So anyway, let me know why you are learning English. Just post that right in the comment down below so you can tell me, and again, that will help me help you better. So for me personally, before I get into today's lesson, the reason I wanted to speak is because I came to Japan and I couldn't communicate. And so I wanted to learn Japanese gardening. And I remember I found so yes, if it's for your job, let me know specifically what your job is. So what do you do to be a better teacher? Hey teacher, I'm new here. Nice to see you there. So yes, if you tell me like more specifically, be very specific about what you'd like to do and what it is, because the more specific you can get about your goal, the easier it is to achieve that. So I came to Japan and I found, luckily, a gardening teacher. I still think it's amazing that I found one, even without being able to speak. But the man who became my gardening teacher, he said, I have to learn Japanese in order to communicate with him and his crew. So obviously, if I can't speak, then I can't communicate. So I had a very specific reason to learn. Obviously, I wanted to just communicate in everyday life with people, but it was helpful for me to have a very specific goal. And that also limited the scope of what I'm learning. So in that case, if you just have a kind of general goal of fluency or thinking about what you want to learn, there's a lot of vocabulary. I think there's like over, I don't know, like 100,000 words in common use in English. And most of these are not used frequently, but that's a lot of vocabulary. And so for me, for gardening, I was able to focus on just a small bit, learn kind of everyday phrases and things related to that. And so that's how I built my fluency. So again, the more specific you can be, the much kind of easier and the faster it is to reach your particular goal. So let me look through some of these. Let's see, I wanted to watch my favorite series in English. Oh, okay. Yep, so some people, even if they don't care about speaking so much, they want to be able to understand their favorite TV shows. That's great. So also teach English, nice. To communicate with other people around the world, very good. To be more like native speakers. To be a better teacher. Wow. Yeah, I have like a lot of people who follow this channel who are teachers. Nice to see you all there. From Brazil, lots of people from Brazil. What time is it in Brazil? It must be in like the evening, I guess, over there. I just want to polish my English because I work for an English company, so I need to speak English fluently. All right, fantastic. So it sounds like everybody is in the right place then, because what I do is focus on fluency. All right, so today I've done this. This is basically the same lesson that I give 9:47 p.m. Actually, I think there are several different time zones in Brazil, isn't it? They're like 4 or 5 different. It's like a really wide country. You got quite a few different time zones. Hi, Andrew. Nice to see you again today. So happy. Hope stay well. Come to Indonesia one day. Good morning. Yes, I'd like to come to Indonesia. There's many places I'd like to go. Actually, hopefully this COVID stuff clears up for international travel more. Japan is finally opening up. Oh, 2:47 a.m. in France. Oh my goodness. Wow, lots of people teach English. All right, so this will be very good for teachers also. This might even just be like a great class, obviously for learners, but for teachers as well. So we're going to talk about the word have. See, make sure I'm getting this in here. Let's see, how high can I go on this? All right. So we're going to put have up here. Now, typically when people are learning some new vocabulary, or especially teachers are teaching vocabulary, they will focus on a particular grammar point. So they will do like the past perfect or something, whatever that grammar point happens to be. But I really want to show you how natives learn this vocabulary, because when you understand vocabulary like a native, you can speak like a native, all right? But do keep letting me know your stories about why you're learning English. That's very interesting to me, and it helps me do my job better. So we begin with something like have. And a young English-speaking child, like I think about my own daughters, they're learning the word have for the first time, and it's usually something they can physically touch. So they have, like I have a marker. So I can have a marker. Now, just for some simple practice, let me know some other things in the comments right here that you can have. Just some simple things that you can hold like that. Very easy. I want to make this like a very, very simple. Where's the Teacher USA? I'm in Japan right now, actually. In Japan. And it is, I don't know, like 10, because it's a fascinating language. Oh, very nice. So just let me know some other things you can have very quickly. I want to keep you interested in following this lesson, and it's easier to do that if you have, I have a laptop. Very good. Fantastic. So you have a computer, laptop computer. I have a phone. All right. And again, what we're trying to do is give you a bunch of examples of something so that you really get a strong, very good, a book. I have an English class. All right. So there we go. We're getting a little bit more advanced with that. So I have a phone. What? Japan? Yes, but people live all over the place. Have a tablet. All right, yeah, very good. So these are all very simple things that children begin learning. Like your parents are asking you, what do you have? And the child usually says, I have something in their hand. Or they can be talking about something about themselves. So they can talk about, I have like 2 hands. Or I have 2 eyes. Or I have green eyes. Or I have, thinning hair. Or I have 2 ears, something like that. So you can talk about the physical parts of your body, and slowly the meaning of have, it begins to expand. And you start working out, finding slightly different meanings of have. This looks a little bit like an alien creature. But the point is, if you just learn, like the Japanese word for have, like this kind of have is like motsu, like to hold something. So I have something, but there are many different meanings of that. And that's what we're going to go, well, I have debt. All right, you're getting ahead of me, but very good. That's a great example. So again, you can begin with something physical just to understand the meaning of it. And we really want to give lots of examples so we understand, but everybody gets these, and we want to move up to more basic or move up to more advanced uses of the word, but following this same basic idea. So I have a marker, I have a phone, and there could be also something that you own, like you have a cat or a dog, or you could have a house. So now it's not like a physical thing that you can hold, like you can kind of touch a house, but again, you're getting from more just physically holding something to possessing something. Ohayou gozaimasu. You have a girlfriend. Yep. And somebody else said debt also. I have debt. All right. Again, we're getting more from the physical to the non-physical down here. So the more abstract ideas about specific things you could have. And you can also think mentally about this. Very good. You have a family. And you could think, again, if you're describing yourself, the things about yourself, we can describe using have in the same way. So I have, again, my features, like I have green eyes or 2 ears, or I have a black shirt. I often have a black shirt. Have a black shirt on. Or you could have a fever. You have a mustache. You have a bad memory. Very good. Or if you want to say you're intelligent, You have a He-Man puppet? All right, so that's more of a physical thing like here, like an actual little puppet you have. All right, so I have smarts. I have smarts. I have a headache. I have the flu. Yeah, these are all very good examples. So I have smarts. You can say, wow, that kid's got smarts. That kid's got smarts. So it just means intelligence. So you have intelligence, or you can say that person has smarts. Smarts. Has some smarts. So you can see all these really interesting, you have glasses, again, another perfect example of that. So you can have like physical cups or the actual glasses that you have here. Can I say I have dumbs too? We wouldn't say you have dumbs, but very good. Glenn, you're thinking like a native speaker. So what native children do is they learn a pattern and then they ask questions. They think, I wonder if I could say the opposite or use this in a different way. So instead of saying smarts, what about dumbs? And you could say that person has dumbs. Street smarts is another example. So street smarts is a little bit different than smarts. So to be street smart or to have street smarts means you can take care of yourself and you don't really get into trouble, or you can get out of trouble if you have something, usually for just dealing with people and walking around outside, that kind of thing. To have street smarts. Very good. So smarts, in a similar way, you have a broken heart. Very good. Oh no. Good example though. I hope you don't have an actual broken heart. But the same thing, yeah, we'll write that up here. A broken heart. A broken heart. Perfect example. So we have our heart here. Everything is going well with the relationship, and then blah. Oh no. It's broken. I have a broken heart. A broken heart. All right? So everyone understands these basic examples very well. It should be pretty easy. Again, you're thinking either a physical thing that you can hold or something about you. I have doubt, another good example. So we're getting a bit more abstract. Whoops. D-O-U-B-T. To have doubt. To have doubt. All right? Everyone following this so far? Making everything clear? I'm going kind of slowly with this, but I really want everyone to get the examples. Then do, then, and then have the same pronunciation, then and then. Then and then are actually different. You can listen. Yeah, I have an idea, another good one. So than, more than, but you will sometimes, as a native speaker is saying this, they will say then. Like, I have more than, I have more than, I have more than, just because it's faster and easier to say. I have more than enough money. I'm taller than that other person. So even though you would speak it clearly, the pronunciation is different. You would say than. That's why people will often write it incorrectly. I remember even in college, I would still write that incorrectly sometimes. So I would be comparing something and I would say then. Like more than. Just because it sounds the same when people are speaking like that. Very embarrassing, I know. But the correct, obviously, is more than. But remember, in actual conversations, you want to listen carefully to what other people are saying, and that's what's going to give you the real pronunciation that people are using. But remember, also, it's about the context. So if you are trying to speak clearly and pronounce things very well, more than, more than. It's the same sound as cat. More than, cat. So this is this short vowel A sound, more than, cat, same sound. But when we pronounce it, it sounds like then, like a short E sound, All right? All right, so moving along. Again, want to make sure everybody understands this. Even at a basic level, a child can understand this lesson. So we want to move. Let me erase some of this over here. All right, so we're going to move perfectly. Very good. Well, thank you very much, Carlos. All right, so continuing along with have, we want to get a little bit more advanced with that. So we've already had a few of these, so we have an idea, or doubt, or fun. To have fun. Have fun. So you can say have fun or have a good, let's see, oh my goodness, a good time, a good time. So you can have an idea, or you have doubt. You can also talk about having a doubt. Have your attention, very good. To have attention. Excellent. So to have an idea, have doubt, have fun, have a good time, have fear. Have fear. I have a lot of fear. Or you can tell people, have no fear. You will see this daybreak. Have a proposal. Yep. A proposal. To have a proposal. So again, these are things that you can kind of have something a little bit more abstract, but you can also have these are different experiences. So when we talk about what experience do you have? What experience do you have? Or what experience are you having right now? What experience? So you can have doubt, have fun, have a good time. In the same way you could have a bad time. Or you could have trouble, have a dream, that's another one. So that's again, that same kind of thing here, have a dream. D-R-E-A-M, dream. You could have trouble. To have trouble doing something. To have faith. Ooh, another good one. You could have a little bit more advanced way of explaining to have trouble. You could say have. Again, we have a good time, or you could have a hard time. So to say you have trouble with something, oh, I'm having a hard time. Have goosebumps. So just had dinner, that's another good example. But you can see how all of these different examples, they get into your mind and they start expanding your understanding. To have patience, another good one. So these are all things that young kids are learning. And as you start learning more like a native speaker, that's how you really start expanding your use of that. And another thing you notice as you're learning these different examples is that there's not just one way to explain things. All right? Oh, hey man, happy to see you. I learned a lot from videos. Thank you. Glad to hear it. So to have experience, have an idea, have doubt, have fun, have a good time, all of these different things, these are ways of expressing a different experience. And so when we get a little bit more difficult, can I say have some sleep or have a good time? Yep, you can talk about like have a rest or have a nap. But these are, again, it's another related thing where we're kind of owning something or controlling it for a little bit, like to have control over something. Or we're controlling it we're controlling it in time, like to have a nap, have a shower, have a bath, have courage, another good one. To have courage. Have courage. Can we replace have with get? All right. Now, I didn't want to cover get in this video, but I guess this is a good time. Have a toothache, headache, same kind of thing. Have a stomach ache, an earache, an eye ache, you know, any kind of like brain thing. Have a break. Yep. To have a break, have a rest. I want to just very clearly, because people are asking about, or someone asked about get. So you can imagine a person. And natives are kind of thinking about the grammar this way or thinking about the vocabulary this way. When you have something, you own it or control it or are holding it in your hand. It's kind of something that we could think about this bubble as have, all right? But get is like motion from one thing to something else, okay? So motion from one thing to something else would be get, all right? So again, all the examples you're giving, get sick, get tired, it's like you're moving from like a happy state to an unhappy state. So you're moving from one place to another, from one state to another. I got confused, same kind of thing, all right? So you're talking about, like at first you understood something, but then you got confused, so you moved to a different place. All right? So when we think about getting something, it's the motion that we're talking about. To get stunned. All right? Or even something as simple as getting like a present. So you get a present, or you get a car, or you get a dog, or you get, whatever. You got sick. Same kind of idea. We're talking about moving from one thing to another. So I got a present from my mom. Something moved from one thing to me. And then once I got it, now I have the present. Okay? Does that make sense? So the movement from one thing to another, and then we have that thing. So I got a present, and now I have a present. All right? So these are slight differences in the way natives are thinking about things that usually non-natives are not. But this is why we want to make sure everybody understands this. So I got some debt from my dad, okay. Drew, what do you think about active learning regarding English learning and fluency? What do you mean by that, Raza? Be more specific about active learning. All right, so moving on. Now here's where people start getting stuck. We're going to get a little bit more advanced here and continuing to talk about experience, all right? So if you want to talk about when you did something or an experience that you had, so like I have played baseball. Pardon my bad writing here. So I have played. Now instead, it's a little bit more advanced, but it's the same basic idea of having an experience. So I have played baseball. I have danced. We're just meaning that here I am now, so we're going to put myself here. This is Drew, lovely Drew here, today. And we've got some period in the time here, and we've got the future over here. So this is the past. And so at some point, I had this experience. I have visited the museum. So same thing, I have visited the museum. And then you're adding on, making it even more interesting several times. All right, now right now when people are going to start talking about grammar points, I know people will say, wait a minute, this is the present perfect, this is the past perfect. Remember, if you ask a native English speaker, they do not know what the present perfect or the past perfect or any of that is, okay? They won't be able to tell you, say, hey, can you give me an example of the present perfect? And they will say, what do you mean by that? But they can talk about their experiences at different times. And this is what I'd like you to have in your mind, okay? Remember, native speakers don't know what the present perfect is. Most of them do not. They know maybe some very basic words about the language. All right? Now you get my videos. Now again, you can say get like you receive them or you understand them. Same kind of thing. Like the way you approach things. Yes, so my way of approaching things is the native way of approaching things. And this is how most people teach their children a language. All right? Most people actually don't think about it so logically. They really just give lots of information, and children are very good at figuring out the patterns. But people can do a much better job of teaching their kids. All right? But again, the same idea, just like you have a marker, all right? Just like you have a marker, it's the same thing. You can have a marker or you can have an experience, okay? So I have, and you're talking about something in the past like that, so it happened already. So I have played baseball. I have seen that movie. I have seen it, okay? I have watched, I have played, I have eaten. So again, just being very simple about it, I have played something like that, all right? So you're just talking about the ideas like you're holding that experience. It's something that you own, it's a part of you. That's all that means, all right? Now you can use just the basic past tense to talk about, something that happened. Like yesterday I played, so I can just erase this and just talk about, it's talking about the same thing, but just in a slightly different meaning, Okay? It's essentially the same thing, though. We're talking about something that happened in the past, and either you're talking about the event or you're talking about you holding the event. Okay? It's just a part of you. So that's the main difference with this. When natives are thinking, like, oh, I have that experience. I have that experience. I have seen that before. I have seen that movie. I have played that game. I have done that thing. I have been to some place. I have lived in a different country. All right? Does this make sense? I really want people to understand the difference, because you can talk about the same thing in slightly different ways. Okay? So you can talk about seen, played, danced, or you have seen, you have played, if you want to talk about the experience. What is the role of NLP, learning neuro-linguistic program? That's a whole different topic for NLP. But I want to make sure everybody understands this. I have traveled abroad. So I traveled abroad. Typically, we're just talking about a specific event, usually like I did something yesterday or last week. Why not I was playing? All right, now before we talk about some other examples, I want to make this point clear. Okay? So I have smarts now, but maybe I didn't have smarts before. I wasn't so smart before. But again, the basic idea is if we're talking about the event, like I saw, I went, I played, I did, just very simple, regular past, just talking about this. So what did you do yesterday? Yesterday I went to the park. Yesterday I ate some dinner. Yesterday I played chess. Okay? But if you want to talk about saying you have had some experience, again, it's the same thing. I have played something. I have done that before. And so when you want to ask someone the same thing, have you had the experience? Have you had that experience before? Yes, I have. No, I have not. So have you? Have you ever played baseball before? Have you ever been to Japan? Or maybe you live in Japan now? All right. So when we're talking about different experiences, I get some people asking me questions often about like when we have something at a particular time, and we're talking about a time period. So we can talk about something continuing also. So I have been playing. So I have been playing means we're talking about it started in the past and it's continuing until now. So I have been doing something for a long time. So it's not just I have the experience, I have the experience continuing. That's what we're talking about. So I have been teaching for, 20 years, I think. 20 years, a long time. I have been studying, all right? Now again, we have been doing something, but if we don't want to talk about until now, we can just cut it off here. Like the experiences from here to here. So I was doing something, or I had been playing. So I had been playing for a long time, but now I don't anymore. All right? Now I don't want to get too complicated, but the main point of this lesson is really just to show you, looking at the use of have, we're talking about holding something. So I've been learning English since COVID. Yep, another perfect example. So you're talking about that. This is the most basic way of understanding it, but you can control the amount of time. So I have been doing it for a certain amount of time, or I will have been if you're talking about the future. Again, I don't want to get too complex, give you too many examples, but the point is the same idea, the same basic idea of have goes all the way through. You haven't learned to draw on the board. Yes, I haven't learned how to draw. My drawing skills are actually okay. They're okay. But my problem is when I write, I have been trying to write quickly. I have been trying to write quickly. Okay? Any questions about anything I've covered so far? Any questions about that? Let's see. I've watched this movie, but can we say I watched this movie without saying specific moment? Yes. So same idea. Okay? You can talk about this just to say, like, if you just want the focus to be the movie. I have seen the movie, you're talking about your experience, or just I watched the movie, you're talking about the movie. I've never played baseball. What the difference is a little confusing. Awesome explanation. Okay, I'm getting both. So people saying they don't understand and some people saying they do. And this is the value of naturally varied review. Really, you get lots of examples, and the point is to get many, many examples until it really sinks in that you really have. Oh, すごいね。もう日本語な。I will be in Fukuoka in November, actually. I will be up in Fukuoka in November. お疲れ様ですね。How month do you learning English? What do you mean by that? Oh my God, I have to do something in the not too distant past. Translate for us. So it just says good morning. Let's see. この前はカレー美味しかったです。Let's see. 長崎行きの高速バスから。We met from the bus. Or we saw from the bus. Really? どこで? That must have been a while ago. When was that? Let me know in the comment when that was. Pardon me, I'm like reading some quick Japanese up there. All right, but any questions about this? I want to make sure people really understand it. The goal is not to have a perfect understanding the first time you hear it. It's really to understand, oh, I can have a physical thing just like I have this marker, and I can have an experience in the same way. But I can have fun, like right now I am having fun, or I had fun in the past, or if I want to say, hey, I just like, that experience is part of me, like I have had fun, okay? So right now I am having fun. I'm having fun. And then we have, in the past, I had fun. And then we can talk about, like, have you ever had something? Have you ever had fun? So just talking about the experience rather than talking about, like, the thing that you did, all right? So it's basically the same thing, the same idea, but this is how natives are thinking a little bit differently. Are you talking about an experience, or you just want to talk about the thing that happened? Okay. I have had to do something, please, when to use. I have had to. So I have had to. So it just means, like, if you're in the past, it's the same idea. If you want to make it a little bit more, even more challenging. So right now, start with the present. It's always easiest to think about right now. So I have to do something. All right. So have to means like you definitely, like, you must do that thing. I have to do that. All right. So in the past, I had to do something. Same idea. You're just talking about it at a different time. So yesterday, I had to take out the trash. Yesterday, I had to take out the trash. I had to. But if we want to talk about the experience, or we want to say, like, it's like a part of me, then we just say, yes, I have had that experience. So I have, and then this is one thing. I have had to do something before. Okay? So it's the same idea. So I have played baseball before. Should write this up here. I have played. I have played. So I have played, it just means you're talking about something in the past. And it's the experience that's now part of you. So I am a person who has played baseball. I am a person who has played whatever, played baseball. All right? But have to, again, it's a slightly different usage of have, but it's the same basic idea for the grammar. All right? So I have to do something is in the present. I have to clean my room. In the past, I had to clean my room. All right? In the future, I will have to. So same thing, same basic idea. Once you get, I had fun. Yeah, you can say that. I had fun. So I had fun, you're just talking about one thing, and I had fun, like it was, and then it was not. Can you explain the expressions I used to? Yeah, used to just means I did something. I did something before, so I did it before. These are just different ways of expressing the same thing. So in the past, you have some experience. I used to do something. It means like you did it for some period of time. So I used to play baseball, like from this year until this year. I used to. So used to, it's not like a habit. It just means you did something for a while. I used to do something. So I used to play baseball when I was younger. I don't play baseball anymore. I used to. All right? So I have played baseball before. I used to play. Now I do not. I used to. It just means from this time until that time. But we're not, usually natives, they don't remember a specific date. All right? So I used to play baseball from this time until this time. So you can say the whole thing, but it's not, you don't have to say that whole thing. Okay? Hopefully this makes sense. I don't want to get too confusing and introduce too many different things. The whole point of this video is really just to talk about have, and then, but you can see how you start asking more questions, and this is the same thing natives are thinking about that. So I have studied with you, that's correct. I'm used to watching videos on YouTube. Yep, so I'm used to it. So like, you're still in that experience. So you started watching videos on YouTube, and now you are still watching them now. I don't get it about have had. All right, let me explain this again. It's okay, take your time. The point is not really to understand it logically, it's to start getting lots of examples so you start thinking about it more like a native speaker. The native way, it really just means you're understanding something without thinking about the rules. You just, I get it. You understand. I have Trump elected. We wouldn't say that. Unless you mean like you did that. You are the person like you had Trump elected. And that's getting into much more advanced uses of something. All right, let me go back and see if I get like a couple of these. I don't get it about have had. Okay, let me answer that one right quick. So I have had to do something. I have had to do something. I know this sounds like a funny expression, but we got like this is just the past form, same idea. So I have to eat. All right, so that's one idea. You must do something, I have to eat. All right, and we want to talk about just the past. So right now, again, we just have our simple timeline. So this is now. Right now, I have to eat. I have to eat. Oh no, I'm very hungry. I will die if I don't eat. I have to eat. I have to eat. All right? So that's the present. I have to eat. So the past would be I had to eat. All right? Just talking about something at some point in the past. We don't say when. You could say when. I had to eat yesterday. All right? Are you following this so far? All right? So pretty simple. I must do something. So it's the same thing. You can replace this with must. So I must eat, or I had right here. We'll replace this one over here. You actually wouldn't use it in the past. Pardon me. That's why we use had to in this example. Whoops, had to. I had to eat, or I must eat in the present, or I have to eat in the present. And the only thing that's different is if you're talking about the experience as a part of you. It's like who you are. So you are many different experiences. We think about you as this is like you as a person, all the different pieces of you. Those are all the things that you have. Okay? So there are the physical things about how you look. All right? So it looks like, you know, like I have hair. I have 2 ears. I have a beard, you know. So these are things that you have. You can understand the physical things that you have, but you also have experiences. These are the things that make you up. You can't see them, but they are a part of you. All right? I really want to make that clear, because this is what natives are talking about. They don't really think about it logically, but for understanding the grammar, this is what we're saying. Okay? So part of this, like let's say part of this person is a teacher. So I have this experience, all right? So I was a teacher, or I used to be a teacher. Maybe you are a teacher now, or you are a baseball player, or you ate some pizza one time. These are all different experiences that make you up. And so when we're talking about I have had this, so I, like meaning like me right now, I had this experience. So and then this one, I have had this experience. So we would say that as I have had to eat. So this experience, you have that right now in the present. That's why we have it. So I have the experience of having to eat. And it sounds funny when we explain it in the present like that, but this is what you're saying. Okay? So if you're just talking about the past by itself, yesterday I had to eat. Yesterday I had to eat. But if you want to talk about this as like a part of you, it's like a part of your experience. Have you ever had to eat? I know it's a funny way of saying this. So have you ever? And so this is the basic question is, do you have the experience? Do you have the experience as part of you? Have you ever taught before? Have you ever had pizza? Have you ever eaten something? Have you ever eaten Chinese food? Okay, we're talking about who you are. It's the experiences that you have about yourself. So have you ever had to eat? Now it sounds funny, but the basic idea is we're talking about the experience as like a part of you. All right? The experience is like a part of you, and not just the thing itself. But this is how you can start making longer and more interesting things. And again, it comes into your mind, and at first you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like have, had, have. Why are they saying that? But if you understand it from the pieces and think about it more from the situation, you're talking about who you are as a person. So I am these experiences. Okay? So I am a teacher. I am someone who ate pizza. Someone who lived in Germany. Someone who, you know, all these different things. Someone who feels fear. Someone who feels happiness. Maybe you have a more realistic example. All right. Give me a verb you wanna understand. And we'll go through it again. I want to make sure you get lots of examples and make sure you understand. Again, it's the same basic idea. We're starting with have to hold something. It's a part of you. I have whatever that thing is. Okay? So it doesn't matter what the thing is. It's something you own or you control, or it's a part of you in some way. So here's you. I know this is a funny picture of you. All right? So I have, and then what do you have? So lots of different things can fill this space. So I have 2 eyes. I have 2 ears. I have hair. I have this color skin. I have a brother. I have a sister. I have fear. So you can talk about things that you have, feelings that you have, and we're talking about experiences also. So when we're talking about experiences, it's the same idea. It's just a part of you. So these experiences are a part of you, just like your eyes or your ears. I have a sore throat. To be a musician, okay. So I have, and you want to be something, so you can say I am a musician. I'm going to write that badly, but yes, I am a musician, all right? So I am a musician, that's who you are. It's part of you. I am a teacher. I am a dog walker. I am a musician, whatever your thing is, okay? So I am a musician, or you can say I have, and you want to talk about the experience of that, like you have been doing it for a while, you're talking about the experience. So I am a musician, and I have been, we're talking about that experience in time. So I am a musician right now, I am, and you started being a musician, I became a musician. So I became, or you started playing an instrument, whatever that is, at this point, and you're still doing it now. And if you want to describe this, I have been a musician. I have been a musician for a while. I haven't had a shower in a month. I hope not. I haven't had a shower in a month. So I have not done something. Same idea. All right? So Salman, this is a grammar lesson. But the point is to learn the grammar and understand the grammar like a native. But I want to get people get really stuck on this kind of thing. They're trying to think about the words individually rather than understanding it like a native. And you understand it like a native as you get more examples. And slowly, sometimes quickly, but usually you get a few examples and it becomes clear for you. All right, that's why we're going over these. So this is called naturally varied review. All right, so you get this, trying to understand the foundation. What does it mean to say you have something? All right, when you try to understand just the word have by itself, have. There are lots of general meanings about this, like to have, to hold, to be a part of you in some way. Or you own it, or you control it. All right, it just means it's like a part of you in some way. So the understanding is experience. Yeah, it's the same idea. So you can have an experience. That's why we use the word like have and experience. This is a regular usage of the word. So think about all the amazing experiences you can have if you go to Disney World or something. All right? So you can have, so I had the most amazing experience, but this idea of like to have experience means something you do or something you feel. It's the same idea. Okay? To have fear is to have an experience. You're experiencing fear. Okay? I have eyes, I have power, I have cried, I have fears, I have a brother, I have dreamed with her. I have bad habits. Okay? And as you say this more and more, the best explanation I've seen. Okay, so you have seen. The best explanation you have seen. So it means you have seen many explanations, and now, ooh, this is the best one. All right. I have a giant vocabulary. My writing is perfect. However, I can't remember my vocabulary. Yeah, so this video specifically is just talking about the word have. But if you get the deeper message of this class, this lesson here, this little workshop about one word, it just is talking about learning like a native. And if you do this with everything, with all the things that you learn, the vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, it all works together. Okay? If you do this, you will become a fluent speaker. I do have experience. And this is another thing. So like when people go to a job interview, do they say, do you have experience with what? I have experience teaching. I have experience in sales. I have experience in whatever. Okay? All right, let me go back and make sure people aren't falling behind over here. So amazing class. I was able to understand and use have been. Thank you. Yeah. So again, the only difference is you're talking about the experience or as a part of you. That's the real difference when people say, have you done something? It's a very short way of saying, are you the kind of person or are you someone who has this experience? So you can have, remember, you can have physical things about yourself. You can have eyes, you can have ears, you can have a mouth, you can have this. These are physical things that you can see. So when a young child starts learning the language for the first time, this is how they learn. What do you have? Like I have a brother, I have a sister, I have, a black hair or whatever, a black shirt. I have a parent, I have two parents, I have a grandmother, I have a family. So have done, again, I have done something before. I have played, it's the same idea. So I have played or I have done something before. Same idea, okay? I know those grammar points are a little bit, so you have a nice smile. You have a nice smile. Excellent, you have a nice smile. All right, again, same thing. It's easy to understand having something physical because you can see it. Or even seeing like a brother or a sister. Like they're not stuck to me. My brother or sister is not stuck to me. They're not on me. But these are the general ideas about have. So to have something physical, or you can have something close to you, something that you own. Like I have a marker in my hand, but I have a classroom that's maybe in a different place. All right? So I've played baseball before. I've played baseball before. Yep, so in that way, it's the same thing. So we'll look at this example, the baseball example again. So what is the difference between these two things? So I have, well actually we'll do this one. So I played baseball. I have all right, it's one word different. I played baseball and I have played baseball. What's the difference? When natives are saying these, what do they really mean by that? Okay? I played baseball. Again, we'll draw our little circle and lines here. Simple timeline. This is now. I played baseball. You're talking about something that happened in the past. At this point, I played baseball. All right? I have played baseball. What's the difference? What's the difference? I played baseball. I have played baseball. They're both talking about the same thing. It's just like a slight difference is that this one is saying like, this is a part of me. I have played baseball. It's an experience that is a part of me now. I have played baseball. All right? But if you just say, I played baseball, you're just talking about the activity. It's just something that you did. So in conversations, when you talk about what did you do yesterday, tell me something you did yesterday. Oh, I played baseball. You wouldn't say, I have played baseball because you're not talking about yourself. You're just talking about the experience. I played baseball. Yesterday, I ran a mile. Yesterday, I walked my dog. Yesterday, I ate some chicken. All right? So I've done with you or I am done with you. Yes, so if you want to talk about like being done with someone, to be done with someone, that's a little bit different than this one. To be done with someone means you're finished with that thing. Or to be done with a person, like I don't want to speak with you anymore. I'm done with that. I'm done with that person. I'm done with that. Which is different from have, but yes, then you can use it that way. So be careful with that. That's a very strong language. I'm done with you. But you can talk about being done, like I'm done with my research paper. Just in like the grammar is fine. It's not bad language. Okay? So let's see. Different and amazing explanation. I played baseball, but may not play anymore. I have played baseball. I may keep playing. Now that has nothing to do with it. Okay? So I want to make it like you're still thinking like a student. It's like, wait a minute, what is it? The only difference is whether you're talking about just the event that you did, something that you did. I've watched your videos, yes. All right? So something that you did, or is it a part of you? Now, it is a part of you. Anything that you do becomes a part of you. But how are you talking about that? Do you care? Is that what you mean? So in a regular conversation, when someone asks me, what did you do yesterday? They're not asking about who I am. They're just asking, did I do something? So the event, so this one, it's just the event, E-V-E-N-T. So we're talking about the event, the activity, whatever that is. So I played baseball. That's what this is. I played baseball. But I have played, it's like you're talking about who you are. All right? It's really asking about the person. It's asking about you. Are you someone who has played baseball? Have you ever been to some place? This is about just an event in your life, not a part of you. Well, it's in this case, you're really asking about the person. You're not asking about the event. You're asking like, are you the kind of person who has done this before? So the simple way to say that is, have you ever done something? But I'm asking like, is it a part of you? Okay? I know it sounds like a weird idea, but the difference is when you meet someone, you're asking about them. Because you don't know what they did yesterday, or you're trying to learn about the person. That's why we speak about the person. Okay? So who are you? That's what you're asking when you meet someone for the first time. Who are you? All right? So I don't know anything about just events in your life. I want to know who you are. Are you the kind of person? Are you someone who has done this? Have you ever did this? Have you ever, like those kinds of examples? I'm asking about that. I'm not asking what you did. I'm asking, have you ever? All right, I'm asking about you. But if I saw you yesterday and I say, oh, hey, what did you do yesterday? I'm talking about the event. I want to know about what are the different events that you did. Now, the thing is, like, they're basically the same. It's just when you're thinking differently about them, when you think about them in this way. This is how natives will not explain this to you. I'm kind of revealing the way natives think about the grammar, even though they don't think about it this way. Okay? But this is what's happening. So when you meet someone for the first time, have you ever? All right? Now you don't have to say ever. You can just say, have you played, have you done, have you whatever. It just means, have you the experience? All right? It's another way of saying, it's almost like a kind of like an old English, from Shakespeare times way of asking the word. All right? So do you have this experience? That's the question. So do you have the experience? All right, do you have that experience? Yes, I have that experience. All right, but we're changing the order of it, and it almost sounds like old English. It's like, have you the experience? So have you ever, it's the same thing. Okay? So often in like a job interview, people will just ask you, do you have, like this experience? Okay? So do you have experience with handling people, managing money? Do you have experience with sales? Do you have experience with marketing? Do you have experience with accounting? Okay? But we're just talking about this. Like, all of these things are experiences, and these are experiences. Okay? Everything it's like an experience. It's something that happens to you, or something that you do. But the question is, are we talking about the thing, or are we talking about the person? All right? Let me go back, make sure. I really want to make sure you guys understand. So I used to play, I have never pictured this idea. Very good, same idea. So I have never pictured this idea. I've never pictured this idea. If you're talking about this, yes, most people are thinking about the grammar. They're thinking about words, not experiences. So natives are thinking about situations and then connecting that with words. Situations are connected with words. Okay? Most English learners are taking a word in their native language and then connecting that to English. They're translating that. That's why they get really confused. They're not thinking about it like a native speaker. And native speakers are doing this unconsciously. This is how they're thinking about it. Oh, have you ever done something? Do you have the experience? It would sound weird to ask someone, oh, do you have the experience of playing a guitar? We would just say, oh, like, have you ever, or have you played? Have you the experience? Do you have the experience? It's the same thing. We're just changing the word order. But we're asking about the person. Who are you? Who are you? Not what did you do? Okay? The answer in the job interview, should that be using a past participle? Well, you can say, yes, I have experience doing that. It's the same. You would answer. The nice thing about answering questions is that you get the same thing. You're kind of flipping it back on itself. All right? So have you ever, you can say, yes, I have. Or do you have experience? Say, yes, I do. So yes, I have experience in sales. Because it's talking about who you are. You still have experience in sales. It doesn't matter today or 20 years from now, you still have experience. Like the experience is always with you. So you keep doing it. So you have that. You have that experience. Don't worry about the time. It doesn't matter when it happens. You still have that experience. So today, you are learning this lesson with me. And now you have that experience. I have the experience. I learned. So I have learned that lesson with you on that day. All right? So it includes the past. The present would be something like past for experiences and events, and present thing. No. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all experiences. Okay? So we're just talking about different verbs, but you can talk about a feeling or a mental state. So if you're talking about right now, so I am something. I am scared. That's the experience I'm having right now. That's my present experience. I am scared. I am scared. I am scared. Okay, very simple. It's a feeling I have. So I have the feeling of being scared. All right? Or if you want to talk about just a simple past, so I was scared. But because you were scared, now you have that experience. So I have been scared before. Yes, I have been scared. So even just one time, you had that experience. So I have been scared before. So if you say, who are you? I am scared. We wouldn't really talk about that, because it's a part of you. It's something you have. All right? You are not fear. It's something you have. You have the experience. All right? So right now you're talking about it's a different way of saying that. So what's another way of saying this? Another way of saying I am scared. What would be another simple way of saying that? I have fear. I am scared is I have fear. I am experiencing fear. So I am experiencing fear. Same thing. All right? So all of these, it doesn't matter if you're talking about an action or a feeling or something like you physically held or whatever, it doesn't matter. All you're doing is changing the time when you did that thing. Wow, Stegosaurus from Taiwan. I have a Stegosaurus. I have a pet Stegosaurus. All right, does this make sense? I hope you guys are starting to get it. So we started very simply, just talking about having something. All right, very simple. I'm having something, I'm holding something, I have a marker in my hand. It's the same idea. So just like I'm physically having something, or I physically have something, I have a phobia, that's true. Hint from Libya. I got it? All right, fantastic. Now, you might not use it perfectly all the time, but you should be thinking what are all the experiences I have? I have experience as a teacher. I have experience as, many, many different things. Is Stegosaurus an advanced word? No, it's just a kind of dinosaur. I'll draw a Stegosaurus for you. So here's a I draw a simple body up here. So Stegosaurus has these little spikes over here and that kind of back Stegosaurus. All right. So hopefully this makes sense. Very well explained. Thanks. Just found amazing English teacher. Fantastic. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. To have you here. It's a pleasure to have you here. So have is a very useful word, and most people, they think, oh, have, like, well, that's just some basic English. I know what that means. But then they struggle with this more difficult stuff. All right? You get the foundation right, you really understand what it means, and there are lots of different ways to understand that. Okay? Remember, to have something, and we're just talking about like very, very simple, even a child would understand, what do you have in your hand? I have a marker. Okay? Could you give me some tips for dealing with anxiety while talking with English? All right. So if people have kind of more questions about that, I might have to save that for another time. I've covered that actually in many videos, and I actually cover that in Fluent for Life as well. I have a whole program about that called The Insight, which is actually very interesting. It's more kind of mindset, psychology stuff. But in general, the most fundamental thing about feeling more confident in language is really understanding the language well. Okay? Why do you have a marker in your hand? That's another very, again, excellent use. Why do I have a marker? I have 2 markers. I have 3 markers. And as you get used to using the language, as you start feeling more confident about it, that's how you start really speaking well. Most learners have trouble speaking because they get stuck. They think, okay, I know what the word have is, so I don't really need to understand it in a way that a native would understand it. But a native has no trouble speaking, and you probably have no anxiety speaking your native language. All right? So it's not really about you as a person. You have anxiety. Okay? It's like a part of you. You have anxiety about learning English, or speaking English, I should say. You have anxiety. All right? To have and to hold through sickness and in health. Yes, in sickness and in health. So you have anxiety. It's just a part of you. It's something that you have. Now you can get rid of that. Now I don't have anxiety. I do not have anxiety anymore. All right? So let's imagine a person who feels fear. Just this idea about having something be a part of you, okay? So right now, I have anxiety. So if you're talking about who you are as a person, right now, you have this experience. I am experiencing anxiety. I am feeling anxiety. I have anxiety. It's the same thing. It just means who you are. We're talking about who you are when you have something, okay? So like you have a marker, it's a part of you. It's who you are, okay? I know like the marker is not you, but it's like part of who you are as a person right now. Maybe I let go. Yes, at the moment, okay? At the moment. So if I'm not, now the marker is not a part of me. I do not have a marker. It's not a part of me. Now it is a part of me, okay? It's not like growing out of my ear or something, okay? But the idea is that it's connected to you in some way. All right? So I have anxiety, very simple from the present right now, but let's say we move into the future, and so like I don't want to get too tricky with the moving this around, but let's say you have anxiety right now, and then in the future you do not. All right? So at this point, we move kind of into the future. And now we say, I don't have anxiety. All right, so now the new present, like you had anxiety here. So I had anxiety. So we're just talking about the event by itself. At this point, at this moment, I have happiness. Well, you can kind of say I have happiness, but you can just say I am happy. But yeah, you're thinking like a native. Very good, very good. So it's the same kind of idea. You can experience happiness, to have happiness in your life. Yeah, you can say that. Very good. So I had anxiety. So if we moved kind of in the future, now this is the present and the future is like, or this is the past. All right, but very simply, I had anxiety. All right, even if we just think about it from the present right now. So I don't have anxiety now. I had anxiety in the present or in the past. All right, we're just talking about the event. I had anxiety. All right, I experienced anxiety. But if we want to say I had anxiety as a part of you, how would we say that? All right, so I had anxiety. How do we say that as a part of you? Like you're asking someone about who they are. How would we say that? All right, I'll give you a second to see if you can put that in the comments. Let's see who can get the answer first if they get it. Very good. I've had anxiety. I have had anxiety before. Very good. All right. So all we mean is like, and I'll write this out so it's easier to see. I have. So I have, who I am, had anxiety. That's part of who I am. At one point, I had anxiety. So I have this experience. I still have it. Okay? I still have it. So right now, like I still have this experience. So even right now, I am not feeling anxiety. I do not have anxiety right now. But I have had anxiety. I have felt it before. Same thing, so I have felt. Same idea, if you want to remove have to make it easier. All right, now, if you want to change it again, I had, so instead of have, we're going to say had down here. So I had anxiety. We're talking about who you were as a person, not who you are. Okay, who you were. All right, this is the like the kind of tricky thing, but you're thinking about who you are as a person. All right, so as a person right now, I have had anxiety. I have felt that before. It's part of me. But if you want to talk about even yourself as a person, kind of moving through time, all right, I had anxiety. There was a time when I had anxiety, but now I don't experience that before. But it's really the same thing. So I have had anxiety and I had anxiety. It's really the same thing. You're just talking about yourself at different states, like in different times. All right? Yes, it sounds tricky, and but native speakers will use it like this. This is what they mean. I don't understand I had. Yeah. So it's a tricky thing where you're talking about like this person moving through time. All right? But it's best to kind of forget about this one and just think about who you are now as a person. Okay? So I had anxiety about something. I have had anxiety about something. My native says I had my coffee, not I drank my coffee. Yeah, it was a part of them at that moment. That's what they mean. All right? So you can drink something or you can have something. Same thing with dinner. I can have dinner or I can eat dinner. Okay? So I had anxiety. I don't have anxiety, and I have had it. Like there is a moment I have the experience. Or you can think, yes, I had the experience. I had felt anxiety before. Like there was a time. Usually we're talking about like there was a time in the past. So here's the present, here's the past. There was a time like from here to here, I had anxiety. All right, that's who I was. That's who I was, but it's not who I am now. It's who I was. So I was the kind of person who had anxiety, and again, like the experience never leaves you. It's always with you. Okay? Does that make sense? So you always are like the experience never goes away. Yeah, we wouldn't say I have. You'd say like I have, because it's just the experience that you have. All right? Okay. Now, again, like I'm giving you like, this is many years of learning that little kids get in like an hour. So young children, they will learn these experiences. They will learn they will develop this understanding over many years. This is how natives are understanding the language. All right? But you're getting it in an hour. So don't expect to like magically use it. I'm putting a lot of information into your brain at one time. Okay? But if I'm just showing you, if you take the right steps, you start with something basic and move up, and you get naturally varied review, you understand it like a native and get naturally varied review, you get fluent automatically. All right? So if I can continue to give you this information every day, teach you a little bit more, you would get fluent even if you don't speak. Okay? Does that make sense? Anybody think they would not get fluent if I kept teaching them? Okay? Anyone? Let me know if there's still something. I know people will still think, oh, I need to have a practice partner or something. You do not need a practice partner. You need to understand the language like a native. I'm going to get angry about that because it's so simple. It's so simple. If you understand well, you feel confident, so you speak. That's how it works. That's how fluency happens. All right? I wanted to get knowledge vicariously through you. Well, you wouldn't. This isn't even vicarious. You're learning it directly from me. This is not watching me do something. This is me putting these ideas into your brain. All right? So you do not need a partner to speak with. Okay? This is not, you don't get fluent by speaking. Now, the reason people think you need to get fluent by speaking is because you have to have like some kind of, basically, it's hard to understand the language. And so when the language is hard to understand, then people think, oh, okay, I have to practice what I learned now. Okay? But if you understand, you don't need to practice. Like the practicing is the understanding itself. The learning, what we just did for an hour, now like 70 minutes, that is the practice. All right? This is the practice. It's all the input that you get that helps you really understand like a native, and that's how you speak. If you don't understand something, then you're really just repeating things without really knowing what you're talking about. That's not really understanding the language. And so that's why people think they need a speaking partner to speak, but they don't. The truth is you just need to understand the language very well. And most people do not. Most people don't really understand what they're saying. All right? They're just thinking, okay, like in my native language, the word for have is this. And so if I translate that in my head, then and then they get stuck in conversations. So the translating works fine at the very basic level. Like maka o motsu in Japanese. I'm holding a marker. But if I want to get like much more difficult with it, then it's going to be more difficult for me to understand because I'm really having to think very hard about that. I have to think. I have to think hard about that. All right, let's see. So I think the only thing I should do to become is marry a woman from England. The concept you and Drew's never translate is really boosted my studies. Yes. So again, think about how you learned your native language. All right? I want to make this very clear because people don't believe me. People don't believe me. You know, I should make like a very like simple course where we're going to review grammar tables and stuff like that because that's what most people know. Okay, we're going to study grammar tables and you know, people are happy to do that even though they don't really speak. I want you to imagine, come back with me to when you were a young child. All right? So this is you, and we're gonna put you here and a little diaper on you. All right, and you got your parents over here. And you got your, you know, other family members or, you know, the people in your town or your school or whatever, all right? And so they're giving you input all the time. Until you are really 2 years old, you don't really say much. Some kids start speaking earlier, but most of them do not. What you're really getting is information from all these people. And most people actually are not very good teachers. They're talking to their kids and trying to communicate, but they don't really do a good job. Most people don't communicate very well. So you have to learn how to do this if you want to, have your children speaking earlier. The way to do that is to make the language understandable, even as a native parent. All right. But remember something very, 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 very important about this. All right. The important thing here is you did not get translations. You did not get translations as you learned. You did not get translations as you learned your native language. Because what translation could you do? You can't translate. There's nothing to translate. You're only trying to get one language in there. You have to get the first language before you can do anything else. You can't translate anything because you're just getting the first language. Okay? Does that make sense? Everybody understands this right now. All right? The main idea is you did not learn your native language through translation. Okay? It's impossible to do that. All right? So what else did you not do? Okay, what else did you not do? Did your parents, let me know in the comments if your parents gave you grammar tables like this. Raise your hand. Did anyone give you grammar tables when you were learning as a child? And I mean, like 2 years old, 3 years old. Anybody? Did anyone get grammar tables? No. Okay. All right. Did anyone review a textbook with their parents? Did anyone say, okay, we're going to teach you whatever your native language is Thai or Chinese or Portuguese or German or French or Swiss or whatever the language is? All right. Did you get a translation? Did you get a textbook? No. Now, at this point, you weren't even speaking anything. You didn't even have a practice partner. All right? You didn't have a practice partner. You're just getting information from people. That's it. So no textbook, no grammar tables, no flashcards. You weren't using like the Anki app or whatever. Like there was no spaced repetition or whatever, like doing any of that stuff. None of this stuff. You did not translate. You did not get textbooks. You did not do any of this. And yet, you still learned your native language. How did you do that? How is that possible? How did you learn your native language without the Anki app? How did you learn without a textbook? How did you learn without flashcards or without studying grammar tables? How did you do that? See, people keep telling me, yes, a partner is important, but why? Why is a partner important? Why is a partner important? The baby isn't saying anything. The baby is still learning. And they're not really saying anything. They're not really communicating with people, but they are getting information. They're getting lots of information. And that's it, is this. That's how you got fluent. And you watch even young children when and I want to be clear about this, it's not about listening or observing or whatever. What you're really doing is understanding. You're building the logic of the language in your mind. That's what you're doing. So it's not about just listening to people or just watching or doing something. It's understanding something. That's how you learn. If you understand, then you feel confident and you speak. If you don't understand, you feel shy. Okay? So babies are learning this way. Now the jump here is you can learn this way too. And this is what I teach. I just gave you over an hour example of that. So our parents or the partner is not, the child is not communicating with the parents for the first usually 2 years. They don't really say much. They might say, like move their hands or something to communicate, but they're not really having a conversation. It's all about getting input. And this is the same thing. If I take you and I drop you into China and everyone just like speaking really fast, it would be very difficult for you to learn the language. But if people are giving you understandable messages, then that's when you start speaking because you actually feel you understand the language. All right? So people say, well, I'm living in a country where there is no English. How can I learn? You're learning right now. You don't need to be in an English-speaking country to learn English. You're learning right now with a phone or a computer or however you're watching this video. You don't need to be in an English-speaking country. Now think about all the things that you've learned in your life that you've learned through television, through movies, through books. Probably you have some favorite authors or some favorite actors that you like watching in movies. And you've never met those people in person, but you've probably learned a lot from them. Like you learned, catchphrases, so characters in TV shows that say like, oh my goodness, little kids learn that. They're just copying from the TV show, but they understand what's happening. Okay? I really want to make this clear. Like, there is nothing else that you need. You don't need a practice partner. It's even when you are speaking, it's the input that you get from other people that's developing your fluency. All right? So you can't speak like me because you just haven't had the same kind of practice that I have. But it's all the input. You've probably spent most of your time learning English through these traditional methods up here. But I don't have partners to speak. You don't need a partner. You don't need a partner, all right? Now I can give my Japanese, my Japanese example right here. Maka, 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 maka. Kuroi maka, kuro, kuro. Ao, aoi maka. Aka, akai maka. Kuro, ao, aka. これも黒、黒いシャツ、黒いマーカー、黒い髪、髪の毛、黒い、黒、黒、黒. Now, if I could continue teaching like that every day, you would become fluent in Japanese. Again, you're not going to learn it from one lesson. It's all the different input that comes together to build the fluency. Most people, they're learning something one time, so their mind doesn't really understand what they're learning. And that's why they struggle to speak. So they learn one thing. So if I'm a Japanese learner, motsu, have. All right? This is how most people are thinking about the language. They're translating from one language into another, and that's it. But as I showed you today, there's a whole world of understanding about the word have that most people will never understand because they're not learning like that. They're learning like this. They're translating using some flashcards and spaced repetition or whatever, and they're getting textbooks, grammar tables, translations. Okay? Make sense? All right, let me see if anybody had any questions about that, because I'm losing my voice. This video session is precious. No, I disagree. We do need a partner. It is impossible to learn a language without that. All right, some people, oh no, I'm getting low battery mode over here. There will be some people, two kinds of people, really. Two kinds of people will watch this video. The first kind of person, I need a practice partner. And the other one is I don't need. Now what will happen in the future is this. The person who says I need a practice partner will do nothing. Or they will go out and keep looking and wasting their time looking for more people. Maybe they will find somebody, but who knows if the person they're speaking with is a good person to speak with or not. It might be hard to find someone. When will you find the time to practice with someone? And even if you find someone, you could be, like you're kind of using your Japanese or your English or whatever your language is to help you understand something. You're really taking a lot of time, a lot of time and a lot of risk when you do this. All right? This person over here starts improving immediately. They're not waiting for anybody because they know the thing that gets them fluent is understanding like a native. It's just that people don't believe it. People don't believe it's possible. Understanding like a native is what gets you fluent. Understanding like a native is what gets you fluent. All right? So these people here, they believe, it's not true, but this is what they believe. They believe I speak and then I get fluent. Now, related to this, they will think I need to live in an English-speaking country or I need a native speaker. But I personally know lots of native speakers, so native English speakers here in Japan. So I have many friends out here, and many of them, they have lived here for many years. Some of them over 10 years, 20 years, and they still can't speak Japanese. They are married to Japanese women, or women who are married to Japanese men, and they still can't speak. They still can't speak. It's not where you live, and it's not your speaking that gets you fluent. It's understanding like a native, okay? So here's what happens. You get understanding. Understanding gives you confidence, and confidence is what lets you speak. Okay? Understanding gives you confidence. Confidence is what lets you speak. Okay? It's really very simple. It's just many, 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 many years you have been taught this. But it doesn't work. That's why everybody keeps doing this same thing. They're like, I got to keep learning and keep learning and learning and learning, but they don't get more fluent. All right? The problem is this. The problem is the foundation of the learning. Now, they didn't learn their native language this way, but they did learn English this way. And if they did, that's how they became a fluent speaker. And it doesn't matter what language it is. If you're learning any language, Portuguese or French, Swahili, you learn it the same way, you will become fluent in the language the same way. Now, of course, you can use the language. The point is to use the language and to speak. But if you're not comfortable, you're only hurting yourself when you try to do that. Now, you've probably all been in a classroom where you felt, oh no, the teacher is going to ask me something, and you're in the classroom and everybody's looking at you and the teacher says, repeat after me. You're not feeling comfortable, so of course, you're not going to speak. Okay? It's very simple. If you don't understand, and natives are like this too, native children, if they don't understand something, then they won't want to speak. I see this with my own children. When they don't really understand, or when they're trying to say something, they can't put exactly the right way to say something, then they don't want to say something. You can see it on their face. It's very clear. It's the same thing for non-native adults. And it's really even worse for us because as adults, we want to be speaking. You can speak your native language very well, and then you start speaking English, and suddenly you're like, I'm a baby again. Okay? Like your dog. So yes, if your dog can understand English, then they would probably be able to speak. And there are lots of things that a dog can't understand. They're really trying to pay attention to what you're doing. My English is impeccable. Impeccable. Well, thank you. I've been learning for a long time. But yes, the main idea is, so everything I do is about this idea. To understand something like a native. All right? Now, when you believe it's possible, and I just showed you it is for an hour in this video already, that's how you get fluent. All right? Does anyone believe if I could teach them every day, they would not get fluent? Now, here, I'll give you one last example because my phone is going to die on me in just a second. Impeccable, it just means like amazing, it's without flaws, beautiful. Now, the really cool thing about my job is that if I were like a gym trainer or whatever, so you have like the person who's at the gym, he's got the muscles over here, he's a gym trainer. So the first job is, he's trying to teach somebody else who doesn't really have muscles over here. This is the gym trainer. So the first thing is for the gym trainer to be a good teacher. All right? And so he has to teach this person. And the second thing is this person has to do the work. They actually have to do the exercises and do them correctly. That's actually like two big, we call these fail points. Fail points. So if you have a problem with this, then this thing doesn't matter. So if this person is a bad teacher, then this person obviously will not become a strong bodybuilder or whatever. Okay? But if this person is really good, I mean, even if this person is really good, if this person doesn't do the work, then they won't get the body that they want, okay? So this is a typical kind of teaching thing where you're doing something physical. Now with me, the really nice thing about what I do is like, you don't have to do anything. All I have to do is just teach you well, and you automatically become a fluent speaker. Just by the way I teach you. Even if you don't speak or have someone to practice with, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, you will become fluent, because I can affect that as a teacher. Okay? So the great thing about what I do is like, if I'm good at what I do, then you get fluent guaranteed. If I teach you well, then you will understand and you will speak fluently. If I teach you badly, you will be confused and you will have trouble and you will not feel confident about speaking, so you will not speak. Okay? So what I do, like what I just gave you this whole long example here, I really want to show you that you can do it and there's nothing stopping you from doing it as long as you're getting the right input. So it's not about only listening or only watching or something. The base of that is the understanding. If you understand something, if you're like, I got it, that's when you can speak, because you feel confident about what you say. So those who can't speak English, they need to speak, but the teacher is saying is not to speak and just listen. Those who can't speak English, they need to speak, but the teacher is saying is not to speak and just listen. All right, if you're talking about me, pay attention. I'm saying if you want to speak, you have to understand the language like a native. The goal is speech, but the goal comes from understanding. You don't speak and repeat things that you don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. You don't become better by repeating things that you don't really understand. That's why people struggle to speak. They don't understand what they're saying. Okay? You can tell when they don't understand something because they use simple ways of explaining things instead of more difficult ones. So the goal is speech. But you don't get there by speaking. I know it sounds like a weird idea, but this makes sense, okay? If you understand something, you feel confident about using it, so you speak, okay? So understanding, just like I showed you before, like if I can give you a lesson in Japanese, maka, 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 aoi maka, akai maka, kuroi maka, ao, aka, kuro, kuro. わかったかな青、赤、黒、黒、黒. Now at first, you won't quite understand what I'm saying, but with 2 or 3 lessons, you're like, I got it. Okay? わかった？わかったか? Do you understand? See, right now, I just gave you, that's a very simple lesson in Japanese. And you will probably forget that tomorrow, and that's okay. And that's why you don't just learn something. The first part of this is like understanding it like a native. All right? Okay? If you disagree with what I'm saying, I wish you the best. I wish you the best. Go out and keep looking for people to practice with instead of understanding like a native. Okay? Of course, you should find people to speak with if you feel comfortable. But typically you feel comfortable when you understand. It's really that simple. Okay? All right? I know it seems like a magical thing that I'm doing, but really I'm just helping you understand the language the same way a native does. Okay? All right? Hopefully this makes sense. All right. Who would like to get like many more classes like this with me? Who thinks they would get fluent if I could teach them like this? Me. Of course I get, I am, I do, me. All right, now why would you get fluent? It's just really because you would understand the language and you would feel confident. Remember, like the biggest thing here, if you watch a movie, who is like seen many movies by their favorite actor? Probably many of you, okay? I want to be a clock with you. I probably mean like have me around the clock. All right? So if you would get fluent this way, this is what I do in Fluent for Life. The whole program is teaching you like I teach my own children. And then you can learn whatever you want, whenever you want, and I get you fluent guaranteed. That's what I do. All right. So you don't have to find people to practice with. You don't need to live in an English-speaking country. You don't need to, go out and do anything. You just need to understand like a native. Okay? So the goal is to think like a native, to understand like a native, so you speak like one. But you have to understand something before you can do it. If I give someone like a bat and a baseball and I say, go out and hit the baseball, most people cannot do that. I'm telling them what to do, but I'm not really like preparing them to do that. Okay? You have to understand first and then you do something. Okay? So I don't have a link in this video. I will probably have one in the description later. It's a live video. But I like teaching this just so I can answer questions and show people that you really can do it when you understand like a native. And that's the whole foundation. You feel much more confident. This is how you got fluent in your native language. And this is often, this is how I got fluent in Japanese. Oh man, we're at 100 minutes right now. Jesus. All right, but when he's saying something he does not understand, he just practice how he say the words, he develop pronunciation. Yes, there's a part of that. Yes, you can repeat things and you will kind of understand what you're saying. You can do that. All right, this is why my daughter, after she's watching a bunch of cartoons, she started to speak English. Yeah, I feel confident listening to you because I understand what you say, but you speak clear English than what other native speakers. Yeah, and so what I do in Fluent for Life is I take you from understanding my speech to understanding native speakers. Okay? So you move in steps from understanding like a native, or understanding kind of like the way I would teach you in this kind of video, to understanding like a native. Oh no. 10% left on my battery. It's my first time. I've never understood things I've never known before. Thanks a bunch. I followed you for many years before your daughter was born. You taught me to speak without anyone in doubt, fluently. I can't thank you enough. You're the best. Glad to hear it. How often do I stream live classes? People enjoy these live videos. I'll probably do them more. But if you want to learn with me anytime you want, to have me on demand, that's what Fluent for Life is. Now, if anybody has any questions about Fluent for Life, I can answer those very quickly before I run out. I love to, have people understand this, but the basic idea is if you understand like a native, you will speak like one. That's really all you need to do. So you don't need to live in an English-speaking country. You don't need to have a native English-speaking friend or schedule speaking practice times. You just sit back and relax and understand the language like a native, and that's how you get fluent. All right? So if you feel confident and you feel like you're really understanding and you're enjoying this, you will really love Fluent for Life. It will take you through all kinds of grammar points, all the vocabulary, so all the same kinds of things. So again, how to improve grammar, same exact thing that we just covered in this video. All right? So we went through grammar, and again, natives aren't thinking about learning grammar, they're thinking about understanding vocabulary and connecting that with situations. So yes, it is a paid program if you'd like to do that. So Fluent for Life is for people who want the fastest results possible. All right? So our Fluent for Life like podcast. Well, there are some audios, but it's mostly video learning like this. So Fluent for Life will give you lots of videos. The first video I saw on your channel was you baking. Yeah. So that's one of the lessons from Fluent for Life. We've been learning a lot with you. Yes, it's my pleasure to help you all learn out there. But now my battery is going to die. So if you have any questions, you can also send us a mail at info@englishanyone.com. But Fluent for Life, it's my whole program. I spent many years building it with students. And this is why so many of them are getting fluent now all over the world, thousands of students, even though I have like one guy, he wrote me, he lives like on a mountain in, I think like Nepal or something. He doesn't know any English speakers, but he learned how to speak from the program. Again, it's not complicated. You understand like a native and you can speak with them. We run out of energy too. What is the fee for Fluent for Life? Go to englishanyone.com and you can learn more about that. It's much better to like learn all about the program and you understand why it's so valuable, but still very affordable, and it will help you become a fluent speaker very quickly. All right, so where is the link? Yes, there is no link in this video because it's a live video. I'll have to put up a link in the future, but you can just go to englishanyone.com or to search Fluent for Life and you can learn more about the program. But especially if you have been, if this is your experience, if you have been trying to learn English for a long time and you still can't speak, most of the people I help have been trying to learn English for years and they still can't communicate. For years, okay? So if you'd like to start speaking fluently in the next 30 days or less, that's what I help you do in Fluent for Life. So you get to choose the thing that you're learning, whatever the topic is, for business or personal reasons or whatever, and then you start getting fluent in that in the next 30 days or less. So if you've been struggling for a long time and you really want to end that struggle, that's how I help you do it. All right? Well, I would like to say thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. I will probably do another video on Thursday, Japan time. You can look that up whenever that is in your time, but probably around this time on Thursday, 2 days from now, because I'm enjoying these and people like these live videos. But if you want anything on demand, Fluent for Life is what you're going to get. And again, it is a paid program, and it's not the cheapest program available because I wanted to make it the best program and I wanted to put everything I had into it. All right, see if there's any final questions. Let's see, you're honest, the most important is understanding. Yes. Time, get, thank you a lot. Yes, okay. So the time, probably around this time. What day are you this very moment? So it is Wednesday. No, it'll be Friday, my time, Friday. Friday from probably maybe around 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. So around the same time. I don't know if I'll go for a very long time. Make a video on Get. Yes, that's in Fluent for Life. So there's like 500 audios and videos in the program. All right. But if you like learning this way, and when I'm in a live video, I tend to ramble. I'll talk about things or whatever, but I can focus and edit videos and things in Fluent for Life so you really get the best you can right there. All right, that'll be it for me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.